Kulimenza.
Nashtuka ikianza. Shout out to Maximo for making this very possible.
And she's gonna tell us about her experience because this is a very sensitive topic here, and a lot of people try to put it under the bag. Maybe we need to might use this, but okay, let's start the podcast.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Podcast. Shout out to our host Edmund Orenge behind the scenes, and I'm here today being invited by Edmund Orenge to share another episode on grief. With me is my very able video Maklimo, and Maklimo has done the setup so that you guys can see us. I mean, the instruments behind the scenes, he's set all this up. He is the man with the cameras, man with the videos, and he is your next plug for your next video shoot or birthday shoot. He does photo shoot, crazy outdoors fashion. So yeah. So without much ado, the topic today is grief. We're going to talk about grief, very sensitive topic, something most of us have gone through, or you know someone who's going through, and yeah, I hope with our own experiences we can encourage someone out there, if one, if many. Yeah, so we'll jump straight into the very beautifully set questions that have been provided to us by the lovely host Edmund Orenge. Man, you guys, you Podtail Podcast, you guys rock.
Keep up.
No pain, no gain.
Okay, let's get going. So the first question, so can you share a little bit about your own experience with grief and how it has shaped your understanding of the topic?
So I've had my fair share of grief, and I know it's not something to be proud of. It's not something to, it doesn't make me any special to have gone through that. But I just appreciate what the lessons that have come with it. Always seeing the silver lining in every cloud. For me, I have learned a lot from grief, and yeah. So this is my story. At the age of 17, just almost finishing high school, literally. We in Kenya it's Form 4. So that was, if I know the systems have changed now, but when I was still in school, ages ago, those decades ago when I was still a student. Yeah, man, the last century.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Us guys with millennials. So Gen Z is high, don't relate.
Relate. You
can't relate, we're old. Anyway. When I was still in school, at the end of my high school in Form 4, I was living life. I was 17. Of course, in Kenya, 18 is your adulting years, is when you become an adult. So I was really, really looking forward to my 18th birthday. And this specific 18th birthday was going to be special. And yeah, I thought it was going to be special because not only was it just a birthday, but not just for me, but with my twin as well, because I have grown up with a twin brother. We grew up together, so I was very excited this specific year. I really appreciate him. He's a big person in my life, and he always supported me, never let me do anything on my own. So I never really learned independence when he was around. I know you knew him, and he was always there, stepping in for me, covering for me. So this specific year, I remember, very psyched up. I used to tell my friends, this year my birthday is gonna be so good. I'm gonna invite you guys. I'm gonna print t-shirts, and everyone's gonna wear t-shirts with our pictures and written we're twins, and just appreciating my twin. And I just don't know why, but I was just so ready to celebrate him so much. But then a month later, we received the most sudden, unexpected news, something I would have never wanted to hear my whole life, something I would have never, ever gotten prepared for. Of course I wasn't prepared for it. That's why it was sudden, unexpected. We got the news that long story short, we lost him to an accident, so that was very unexpected. I'm not gonna go into the details, but at 17, that was the first time I had lost someone very, very close to me, and literally, this was like literally my other half. That was a difficult road. It still is a difficult road, still trying to navigate it every day and trying to live life after that. Has really, really, as I've said, shaped my understanding of grief. To me, I have grown every year. It manifests differently, and just going through that, yeah. Let's continue. yeah, let's continue.
That's her experience, and definitely you all find no words to try to relate with those kind of situations, and it's tough. So what's your understanding that shape how you live now?
My understanding is I have grown. I didn't know what grief was. I had lost maybe relatives, but people, not very close people. So I didn't really understand how that felt like. And 17, I was as young, just getting, literally out of my adolescence into my young adulthood, and being hit by this shock. Like you're ready to now finish school and go out there and live life, but then now you're going with a burden. It's a burden you carry through life, so having to now figure out how I want my life to turn out. Still being encouraged to pursue my dreams, and also having to deal with this because it was a burden, it was a wound that I had to tend to. So it was, you're ailing, so you're trying to do it through life, but you also have to realize that you're ailing, you're not really physically sick, but there's a problem, there's something that needs to be fixed. So working to fix that and not letting that, stop me from living my life was one of the biggest challenges, which we're going to talk about as we answer the questions ahead.
Yeah. Let's continue. Let's soldier on. Another question. I hope we've answered that question. So if not, please put in the comments.
Yeah.
And
good comments only. The bad comments will be deleted.
not even seen.
Yeah, we don't look at bad. Positive vibes only. Anyway,
okay,
sorry.
so grief can manifest differently for everyone. That's very true. Can we expound on that a little bit? Talk about.
Yeah, it's different for everyone, and I would say, not just different for everyone, but also different for everyone you lose. There's, I've lost people after that. I've lost mentors, people very dear to me. I've lost other relatives, I remember a few months after that, I lost my grandma, and how I handled that, and even still handle that, was very different from how I handled the loss of my brother. So I think just with the different relationships that we have with people, it manifests differently. So the way you will process grief and the way I will process grief is very different, and the mistake we make is we try and think that everyone will process it the same.
Yep.
If anything happens to you right now, God forbid, but I will not come to you and say, hey, I understand exactly how you're feeling. That's a lie. I may have lost someone, but I don't really understand how you're feeling. I don't know what relation you had. I don't know the depth of your relationship, and your pain can be very different from mine. But the thing is, what we're doing here is we're supporting one another, because pain is pain. I've gone through pain, you've gone through pain. It could be deeper, it could be worse, it could be very different for everyone. But the thing is, someone's hurting out there, and we've got to help.
Yep, it's very 100% true, because you clearly don't understand what's going on in their head, and some people can be physical, what's the other one, emotional. So you can see their outward reflection of how this thing is affected them, but at the same time, when someone who's emotional, you might not understand what they feel, and they can pull up a poker face, and you'll be like, oh yeah, he's alright, he's getting on fine, but then deep inside, things might be boiling and burning. So you have to kind of respect that. And support. And what other things?
Be there. Honestly, I'd say presence is the most important thing. Having to stand with people who've gone through grief, even having gone through grief myself, I never have the words. I will still come there and look at you and literally not know what to say to you, have no words for you, which is okay. Because when I was there, I did not want anyone to say anything to me. Just you being there, just sitting here next to me, just let me bawl my eyes out. Let me, cry it all out. Let it all out. Don't say anything, because nothing you say, trust me, nothing you say makes it better.
As we go on to the next question, what are the healthy coping mechanisms and strategies for processing grief?
It's different for everyone, like we said. It's very, very different for everyone, but just self-care, look after yourself, and remember that you're not trying to move on, you're trying to move forward. So keep on thinking about these people, cherish the wonderful memories you had. Personally, I keep a journal. That's where I document all my feelings. On days when I'm feeling low, I will write everything I feel, and just write everything I'm feeling at that moment, and just direct it all to God. So I will write it out, cry out, and just leave it there. Sometimes and this, most of the times, my low moments end up to be my prayer times, and not really the kind of prayer times that I pray and sit and declare words. At that point, you're low. You don't really have the energy to to be declaring things in prayer, but you just write it out and just cry and allow God to be within that moment. So journaling and just directing whatever I journal to God has really helped. And then talking to people, if you can find someone you can trust, it could be a friend, it could be a family member, or it could be a therapist. Go out there, talk to people, because when we talk, we unpack, and when we talk about it, we let it out. But if you don't let it out, it's like healing a wound from the outside. We have these wounds that are very deep, and when we focus on healing it outside, it heals outside, but it's not really healed inside. So this, later it will look good on the outside, but later this thing comes back and it eats you up, infections and everything. And not really talking about wounds, that's gross, but grief is like a wound. So if you deal with it outside, you will look okay, but you're burning inside. So, and you're not really going to push on their legacy if you're going to live a very isolated, sad life. So look after yourself, seek help, and socialize with people. Do not isolate yourself. One big mistake we all do, we tend to, and it's part of grief. It will isolate you, it'll make you feel like no one else is going through it. But socialize with people, get out there, keep your body moving, all forms of self-care, indulge in your hobbies, whatever you like doing, and just cherish the wonderful, wonderful memories you had of these people.
Absolutely, definitely, that's 100%. You don't move on, you move forward. That's new. That's really nice.
Don't move on, you move forward with grief.
The other question is, what role does self-care play in the grieving process, and how can individuals practice self-care during the difficult times? Solutions.
I think we've pretty much covered this in the previous question. Self-care, whatever self-care looks like to you, could it be indulging in your hobbies, going out, moving your body, because grief affects people mentally. And like we say, if you don't deal with grief, it could manifest as depression, as anxiety, as post-traumatic stress disorder. So you need to really, really look after yourself so that you don't end up losing yourself in the process as well. We know people who've ended up, even committing suicide because they could not deal with grief very well. So, and it's not their fault. it's not anyone's fault. But the thing is, you have to look after yourself, and you need to seek help. Seeking help is self-care. Therapy is self-care. And people, there's a stigma around therapy, but therapy is the new flex. It's the new flex. Seeking help and unpacking what you're feeling, and then talking to someone, and then also socializing, eating healthy meals, that also helps. We don't realize how much nutrition plays a big role in our lives, and just helping us feel okay. You eat better, you feel better. Journal, as I said. If you can journal, whatever your hobbies are, listening to music, uplifting music, and recreating memories of these people, and celebrating them every chance you get. And just trying to recreate their legacies, and what they believed in, the good stuff, of course. If there's things they believed in that you're able to still show or bring out to the world, or they can live through you.
Yes, that's very true. That's one thing my counselor told me. Like, if I feel down, what are those things that you did in some similar situation and made you overcome those emotions or that space? So trying to identify the good spots in your life, and then try to keep on harvesting that every now and then. When you're down, you go back to the good. It's a good garden, and pick up the good things.
That's right.
That will make you happy, and I think that's gonna help you generally in life to overcome some adversities, I think. Okay, let's go on. So okay, next question is, how can friends and family best support someone who is grieving? Oh my days.
English. Family and friends, like I said, if you know someone who's grieving, someone who's going through, grief, someone who's lost someone, or someone who's trying to go through a hard time, sometimes there's no right words. Most of the times, actually, there is no right words to say. There's no right things to do. I would say your presence. For me, presence really meant a lot, and I learned a lot as well from my friends being there and being present at that point, and just being able to be a safe space I could unpack, a place I could cry. That was everything. So just be there. Sometimes you don't need to do anything, you don't need to bring anything, you just need to be there for them and let them know that you're there for them. Don't shy away, don't run away. Keep coming to their houses, keep going, keep seeing them, keep checking on them, letting them know you're there.
That's it. So so there's some few questions here. I think we've gone through them through explaining some previous questions. So one of them is like, are there any common mistake people make when they're trying to offer support? Kind of
let's change, guys.
And then grief can sometimes be isolating. And are there support groups or communities that individual can turn to comfort and turn to for comfort and understanding? So what did you say? Talk about people you trust. Open up to counselors. Because I think, I don't know where I heard this, but somewhere, like, if it's much easier to open up to someone you don't know, because in your mind you're like, I'm not gonna see them anymore. Like, often I'm like,
you don't even know me, man.
So opening to like a counselor might be easier. You might dump everything that's in your heart, and in the end you're like, oh yeah, they don't know me, they don't know my personal life, but they'll be there to listen to you. I hope you understand your way forward. And definitely also someone you trust.
Definitely.
Not anybody, just not anybody. You don't tell everybody your deepest secrets.
Nope.
So people you trust, people you know that they would listen to you,
Understand.
and they won't try to answer your questions that maybe don't have answers to. Maybe I don't know. What do you reckon?
Yeah, like I'd say, there's actually like the 3 C's when going through grief: choose, connect, and then communicate. Don't isolate yourself. Choose people you can trust. Choose a community you can trust. You could find support groups. There's help groups online. There's so many podcasts like this one we're doing. There's people. There's talks. There's books. There's very many ways you could find help with grief. And just to recommend a book that I really used, it's called When Jesus Speaks Healing to a Hurting Heart. Man, that book, it's like a little book with like daily devotionals, but really carried me through my worst times. So if you can get that as well, and then just connect with people. Don't stay in the house. The enemy knows you're struggling. The enemy knows your mind is going places, and he would want to use that to bring you down. Remember, if there's one person who rejoices in your grief, is the enemy, and he will try and make you turn you against God, make you feel angry against God. So don't put yourself in such situations. Go out there, communicate. Don't isolate. Connect with people and communicate. Really communicate with people. Talk. Even if you don't talk about what you're going through, but just talk. Yeah, it makes you lighter.
Yeah, we're almost at the end, but I'll let her go through her notes now so that she can kind of tell you what she had written down, because she has some verses right there that she wanted to share with you guys that's gonna help you in your journey.
Okay, we've pretty much gone through everything, but see, there's stages of grief. There's denial, and then there's anger, and then there's bargaining, and then there's a period of depression, which is pretty much the worst, and then there's acceptance. That's when you start healing. So if you're going through some of this, you probably just experienced grief. You're going through denial. It's normal to think, I never wanted this to happen. This is not happening. It's normal to always still text their phone or call their phone and expecting they will pick up. It's normal. That's part of grief. And then there's anger. There's times you'll be angry with yourself, angry with whoever was there or whoever's connecting. You can connect to their death. You can be angry at God sometimes, but don't allow this to eat you up. Just still seek help and recognize. Being cognizant of what you're going through is very important. So I understand that that's part of grief, and you're going through it, and now know how to deal with it. And then we have bargaining. Sometimes we ask ourselves, what if this had happened? What if I'd done that? The thing is, we can't go back and change the past, but we can influence how we live, how we can allow these people to live through us. And then we get depressed, we get lower, but don't get lost. You're not alone. You're not going through this alone. There's so many other people that are going through this, and they want to help you. So you're not alone. And then just accepting that it's happening, and then now seeking help, and just go through healing. And remember, if you're trying to move on from grief, don't try and move on. You're putting so much pressure on yourself. Just move forward with it. And because what I mean by moving forward actually is, these people, you will still think about them as you go through different experiences of life. Say for me, I have my birthday every year, and my birthday was never my birthday, it was our birthday. So if you tell me to move on every 8th of August, guys, I need gifts next month, but every 8th of August, I think about him, and I'm trying to celebrate this alone. So moving forward, I'm now thinking, instead of thinking of, oh, I hate my birthday, I don't want to do it again, now I'm starting to think of how I can honor him in these days. And so just allowing yourself to experience, think about these people when you're going through your milestones in life. So you're moving forward with it. These people, they're forever going to be a part of your life. They were once there, they will forever be there. Okay, and just a few verses to encourage us, because like I said, the Bible, God really held me through this.
Just one, let me catch you. So there's this idea I had in my mind, like when I was in my down moments, and a lot of people, that they always say that don't let your past influence your future.
Oh yeah.
And
that's beautiful.
Yeah, like the one we were talking about, moving on from your past. Sometimes it's always a thing. It's something that people don't expound on. You cannot just tell somebody to move on and forget your past. You already experienced it. It would be better if someone who's willing to show you how to grow and move forward than just pointing out like you're living your past and then it's ruining your life. Definitely it's ruining your life sometimes, but then if you cannot see what's that's ruining yourself, you might not be able to identify and move forward. So that's a different perspective where we should learn to be of a constructive influence to people around who are grieving. Who are grieving, so that you can help them, grow and overcome those challenges. So in terms of participating with them when they're doing their coping mechanism, going out to do their favorite things, you go out with them and have fun. You don't just let them be there by themselves, because they might go and do some crazy things out there and thinking they're doing the right thing and it's not working. So always think about that. Maybe they want to move on, but then they just don't have that energy or that, let's say, capacity to push on. They need people around them. So back to you.
Okay. Like I said, let's go to the Bible. Let's talk about scripture. Let's do scripture. Psalms 34:18, it says, the Lord is close to those who are brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. At your lowest, remember, when you're weakest, God is strongest. So do not think that God has abandoned you. I know sometimes it feels like, God, where were you when this was happening? God, you had to control this. You have all the power to stop this, but you let it happen. It's not our point to question. God has a reason for everything that happens, and we cannot control what God does, but it does not change the fact that he's still God and he remains on the throne. But just in your low moments, just remember that God is with you, and he says he will give you peace which surpasses all understanding, which will guide your heart and your minds, which are your most troubling organs. Not really organs, but your heart is going through despair, your mind is in very many places, and God says he'll give you peace that will guard your hearts and minds. So just seek God, and sometimes you don't really need to utter all the words, go to God with 1,000 words when you're hurting. You just need to ask God to just minister into your pain. Just allow him into that space, and what he does is amazing. And then the other thing is, God comforts us in our affliction so that we can comfort others going through the same afflictions. I don't think I would be able to sit here and talk about grief if I had not gone through grief. I am not getting a trophy. I'm not giving myself a trophy for going through grief. I would have never wanted to go through that. But I'm happy that with my experience, I can be able to encourage someone going through this out there, or even teach someone else who's maybe trying to support someone going through grief and they don't know how. Reach out and let's do this together, because apparently all of us have 100% chance of going through grief at some point in life. We don't know. Could happen. It could be you, it could be me, it could be anyone, and we're going to need to move on from this, move forward from this. Also, listen to people online, like we said, Joyce Meyer. She does a lot of talks about grief, and there's so many other wonderful speakers talking about grief. Reach out online, talk to your friends, talk to your family, find help, seek help. Don't be alone. Don't let this eat you away, because these people that we really loved would also want you to be happy and move forward with life. And if you can, just recreate the memories you had together. It's wonderful, and it's also a good journey. One last thing before I forget: do not idolize the pain. The pain is part of the process, but do not worship the pain. also when it's time for the pain to, the pain eases. To tell you, I don't think I feel the pain I felt when I first received the news. It got lighter, it got better with time, but sometimes, letting go of that pain was hard. I thought this pain was them, but when I look back, I think when the moments I had with him, there was never any that was pain. So in my life, he never represented pain. So why then hold on to the pain when he's now gone and think this pain is him? So it's very okay to let go of the pain and allow the pain. When it's time for the pain to go, the pain just it goes away very, in so much subtlety. So just allow the pain to go away, but then these people, they will always remain. The memories you have will always be there, and the fact that they were very close to your hearts never changes. So if you're going through grief, you're not alone. We're here for you, and so much praying for you all that you will find comfort in Christ. Thank you guys, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe to Pontel Podcast, follow Pontel Podcast on Instagram to hear very, very more amazing content and meet very amazing speakers. And shout out to Mark Limo, and support his photography and videography.
Support my photography. I have a Instagram account, Mark_Limo. Follow, like, share, or do all of that. And it's nice looking at the camera. I hope you learned something out of this, put into your life.